All right, let's start with the second video. This is a series of 3 or 4 videos that I'll be doing looking at the data analysis from NRMP, National Residence Matching Program, looking at the outcomes, characteristics analysis. In the first video, we reviewed the outcomes or characteristics of USMD school seniors who matched into neurology and overall match, and we went through some of that data and information together. In this video, I wanted to look at the outcomes or characteristics of those international medical graduates who matched and didn't match in their preferred specialty. And again, my understanding is that this data only applies to people are considered defined matched as someone who matched into their first preferred specialty. So if they listed more than one specialty, then they were considered matched if they matched in their first specialty. Now, if they matched in their second specialty, let's say they had 5 programs on the first specialty, and they didn't match in any of those, and they matched into the 6th program, which is a psychiatry residency or second program, not neurology, then I believe they are considered not matched for this analysis of the data, although they may still have matched to, technically they have matched, but not necessarily in their first choice. And again, as I mentioned, I'll be focusing mostly on neurology. And I will be, and again, this data is not mine. This is public information. This is publicly available on NRMP website on match data and characteristics. And I'm just reviewing it together and just giving my input and feedback and my interpretation of these things, and take it with a grain of salt because I have not been doing this for too long. All right, let's look at the data. So this is the outcomes in the match for international medical graduates, and they're charting it for preferred specialty in 2022 for international medical graduates, characteristics. All right, I have not seen this document, so let's look at this together. So I previously went through these tables and charts, and we'll do that again. And they look the same as the charts and tables that we had for USMLE seniors. And again, then they have specialties, and I will only focus on neurology. As I mentioned before, that would be my interest. And I will skip all of the subspecialties, but if you have another specialty, you're welcome to go and get that data from an NRMP website and look at it. And but I will look at overall characteristics of all specialties that might be useful and might be still applicable to you. All right, again, I'm going to skip the introductions, but look at the definition. An international medical graduate's physician who received a basic medical degree qualification from medical school located outside the US and Canada. The location of the medical school, not the citizenship of physician, determines whether they are an IMG. So remember, when we looked at the data last time, maybe they will show it again. Nearly half of the IMGs, a little less than half, were US citizens, and about 5,000, and about 7,000 plus were non-US citizens, but they consider both of them as a one category of international medical graduates, and they do not make a distinction between them regardless of the impact of the citizenship on their chances of matching. So that's something I don't think they can capture or could be studies. So if you put them together, US IMG 7,864 and non-US IMGs are 5,048. So it's the other way around. Surprisingly, somehow I remembered that the non-US was bigger category, but we'll look at it again. So a total of 12,900 IMG applicants as compared to 19,900 applicants from US MD school, and then another 7,000 plus was from US DO school. I think 7,300 if I remember it right. Now, 15.7% of US IMGs and 31.1% of non-US IMGs did not give consent to participate in NRMP research, and that's very sad. So, this 15% is very close to the 17%, or this is 16% of US MD seniors who did not consent. So that's 1 out of 7, I believe, and it's about the same number here. But surprisingly, the non-US IMGs, 31% did not consent to participate in NRMP. That's very bad because they should be 0 here, because as a non-US citizen IMG, you really want to see this data. You want to see what's happening, who's matching. This is anonymous data. This is research. I don't know, this is more of a suspicion or lack of clarity on what the research means, and if that has an impact on their matching chances, or what, somehow that data will get leaked or something. I think we should trust this data is anonymized. This is compiled and pooled. There's not individual cases, and we have no idea. Even there's one person who didn't match into a certain category, did not match. We have no idea who that person is, and we would never know, likely. But this is what we have. So that data from non-US IMGs will be very skewed because of a significant portion, nearly a third, did not consent to participate. So we are only going by the 2/3 who did consent to participate in NRMP research. So that brings us down to 10,000 applicants, 3,800 US IMGs, and 6,292 US IMGs. So non-US IMGs. See, so I'm right. So if you go by percentages, this 7,864 should be the non-US IMGs, 5,000 should be the US IMGs. So out of this 5,000, 3,800 are being looked at, and out of the 7,800, about 6,292 are being looked at. But it's again surprising, 6,292 out of 7,864 is not 31% saying no. What am I missing here? Let me see. Sorry, I'm just doing some quick math on my computer. So 7, 8, let's do this. 6,292 divided by 7,864. That's 80%. So that's only 20% being excluded. So I'm not sure where this 31.1% is coming from of exclusion. So 20% is more close to what we're seeing with 16% here and 17% before. So if I'm missing something, let's see if I can find it out as we look at this data together and see, I haven't seen this data before. So, but at least I think I caught one mistake here and a second mistake here, but who knows? All right, let's keep moving. There was some missing information. Step 1 score 5.5% missing, much higher than USMD senior, was only 1% was missing. And step 2 score 8% missing for US IMGs. And again, it may be people applied thinking that step 2 score will come in by the time they go for match, but they didn't have it for the match, and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna skip those numbers, but they look like a lot more missing data as compared to USMD seniors for sure. And again, specialties that offer 50 or more position and had at least 7 matched or unmatched applicant of either applicant type preferring the spelling 22 are including the support with the following exceptions. So they are looking at only specialties that have 50 or more positions, which was like what they did for USMLE seniors. But now they have a second criteria that at least 7 matched or unmatched applicants for either category. So category is the IMGs, US and non-US, US citizen and non-US citizen, which means that there may be a specialty, or they're worried there may be a specialty which does have 50 position offered, but is so competitive that there is no international medical graduate or less than 7 IMGs being matching into that specialty, and they do not want to share the data on that specialty because that data is not useful. It's so off the charts and so skewed. And there may also be some privacy concerns of interpretation on who, where. Sometimes you can how you call it, reverse engineer the data to try to figure out who is that person or who's that specialty. So they didn't want to have that risk. Probably, again, this is my interpretation of why they selected that inclusion criteria, and so on and so forth. And then we will. There's a summary outcome that they have come up with. Let's see what they found as the summary outcome. They said that IMGs who match to their preferred specialty are more likely to rank more program within their preferred specialty. So not total rank, but only the preferred specialty. Have a higher USMLE Step 1 and 2 score, which is not surprising. We saw that in the USMLE senior, although the non-match were so small of a number that that difference didn't mean much. And then B, US citizen. So that is very interesting. See, although they are not probably gonna evaluate the impact of citizenship, but they are clearly seeing that if you're a US citizen, your chance of matching is higher. It may mean many things. A lot of time it's just practical thing that a small program in a small hospital does not have capabilities to offer visa or process the visa or process the document, have never done it before. It's a new program that just opened up. They have no idea how even a program works, and things like that. So many things, but it's not something that I have, tangible information to share with you on how this works. So let's look at overall table and charts of all specialties. All right, so this is that chart we looked at before. So senior US students of MD school, 19,902. We have looked at this data in the previous video. Now we're going to the other pieces of the pie. We are not looking at the DO medical school, so you can ignore this purple. We're looking at these two green, the bluish green and the greenish green. So the non-US citizen IMGs are 7,864, like I said. I did remember it right. And the US citizens are 5,048, and which is a smaller number. And there's a typo up in the report by chance. So these two combined are 12,000 something. And remember, about 16% of these and 20% of these did not consent. Again, they say 31%, while my calculation is 20%. So about 10,000 or so of data is being looked at in terms of matching and unmatched applicants. So let's look at that data. So I'm going to jump to neurology. So in neurology, again, 1,014 seats, just like we talked last time. And total number of applicants, all applicants is 1,249. Oh, so I made a mistake in the previous video. I thought 1,049 were the MD senior applicants. That's not true. Only 500 of them were the applicants that were US MD seniors. So 55% or less applicants. So I would 500 something will be about 40% of the applicants are USMD seniors, and the rest are international medical graduates. So although there is 1.23 applicants for each of these positions, out of these 1.23 applicant, I think 0.55 applicant is a USMD senior and 0.68 or 0.6 something, not 0.55, less than 0.55. So 500 something. So let's say, I think 562, let me just use 562 out of 1249. So that's about 44%. So 44% of the applicants are USMD seniors, and 66%, 56% will be the international medical graduate for this program. So out of these, they have broken down to US IMGs and non-US IMGs. So in US, if you're a US citizen, 66 matched and 56 did not match. So about 50%, a little over 50% chance of matching. And if you're a non-US IMG, 185 matched and 185 didn't match. So 50, again, almost 50% chance of not matching. So slight difference between US IMG and non-IMG, but clearly a lot more non-US citizen IMGs are applying and matching as compared to this. So out of that 60 something percent, 56% of these 1,249, almost a third of them are USI citizen and 2/3 are not US citizen. Remember, this data is only for those who consented for their data to be pooled together and analyzed, so which is about 80% of the data. So 10,000 applicants, not 12,000 IMG applicants or so. So very interesting. So please, if you watch my previous video, I'm correcting myself. Maybe I should go back and put a comment on the previous video that out of these 1,249, only 500 something applicants are USMD seniors, and which is about 44% or so, 45%, and then 55% are non-US non-US graduates or IMGs, international medical graduates. So it's interesting like that. I'm not sure if this can be compared to other specialties, but let's just take family medicine for an example, like we did last time. 4,916 position, 5,000 applications, so almost one-on-one application. Some of them are IMGs and some of them are US citizen. I don't remember how many were the USMD seniors. And there's also DO students that we're not counting. So matching here is 632 US citizen versus 462, which is almost 60-40 kind of a chance, 60% chance of matching, 40% chance of unmatching. And for a non-US citizen is 380 to 480 to 408, which is almost like 50-50 chance, similar to neurology. And if we look at something competitive, let's say neurological surgery, they have 240 seats, 379 applicants, so 1.58 applicant for each seat. So not too bad. And two matched, which are US US IMGs, 7 didn't match. So 2 in 9 or 1 in 5 chance of matching, 20%. And 16 non-US citizen matched compared to 26, with a much higher chance of matching. So this will be about almost 40%, 30-40% chance of matching compared to 20%. It's almost double, maybe a little more than double chance of matching. But definitely a lot more applicants for neurological surgery. Interesting. Not that it applies to us in neurology, and all of you are going to be a neurologist, right? All right, let's look at this data. Ratio of international medical graduates ranking specialty first available positions. So again, they're looking at ranking specialty first, meaning that whichever was their first ranked specialty. So they have US IMGs and non-US IMGs, and then all other applicants. So let's look at neurology. In neurology, 0.75 applicants to available position in each specialty, and 0.36 applicant for each position are non-US IMGs and 0.12%. So still more of non-US IMGs. I hope I'm getting this data right. So ratio of applicant per position, so 75.75 applicant to each position. So more position than applicant, and 0.36, but total will be 1.23, I guess, which was the total for each applicant. So let's do it total so I'm right. So it's a breakdown of 1.23 applicant for each position, 1.75 plus 0.36 plus 0.12. Yeah, 1.23. Okay, finally got it. So when they are saying here that there are 1.23 applicant for each position, and these are all applicants, both US and non-US IMGs and non-IMGs, then all of these 1.23 applicant for each position, they're dividing it, and they're saying for each position there is about 70.75 US MD senior or all other applicants, so MD and DO, and 0.36. I think so. MD was 0.55 if I remember from the last video. 0.55 was the MD senior, so 0.2 will be the DO and others, mostly DO. 0.36 is the non-US IMGs, and 0.12 applicant for each position is US IMG. So 1.23 applicant for each position available. So it's interesting. Let's see where the US non-US IMGs are going mostly. So 0.53 applicant for pathology, and 0.43 applicant is internal medicine, both of them more than neurology. And where they're not going is almost none for emergency medicine, which is sad. Emergency medicine is a wonderful field. Minimal for anesthesia, not much for child neurology, not much for radiation oncology, and then in between 0.16 for family medicine, which is surprising that it's so small. So mostly internal medicine, pathology, and then the third one, if I'm counting it right, is neurology. So first is pathology, second is internal medicine. So this is the ratio of available position to applicant. So for each one position, how many people are applying? So for each two position, one is applying for pathology. For each, yeah, so far you can convert it into whole numbers. I'll keep it as fraction. Too much information to process in my head. All right, let's look at match rates of international medical graduates. Percent matched by preferred specialty and IMG applicant type. Oh, that's the interesting data, right? So how many of the people who applied match? We looked at it a little bit in the numbers, but let's look at its percentages. So 54% of US citizen IMGs matched into neurology out of 100% that applied and allowed for their data to be looked at, right? So you have to remember that too. There is a portion missing, about 16% for US IMGs and 20% for non-US IMGs, and 50% of US IMGs. I think the ratio is probably still the same. Let's just assume the ratio is the same. That missing data does not have a significant impact on these chances, probably. So 54% and 50% are about the same, 1 in 2 chance of matching. And we looked at this data in terms of numbers that out of 122 applied, 66 matched and 56 didn't match. And out of 370 who applied non-US citizen, 185 matched, 185 didn't match. And almost perfectly even in those who have allowed the data to be looked at. This is the 80% of the people, not 100%. All right. That's neurology, and let's look at the other applications. So pathology was the most common application. So in pathology, chance of match is 59%, slightly better odds, but less if you're a US citizen, 45%. So here non-US citizens are matching more. We also looked at the third one for US, which was internal medicine. So here the odds are again the same for US and non-US, and it's 58%. So both have better odds than neurology. So people are smart. People know where their chances are better. So clearly their chances are better in pathology and the chances are better in internal medicine than neurology. But what they're missing, the story they're missing is pediatrics. The chance is 72% of matching if you're a US citizen and 61% even if you're non-US citizen. Amazing, much better odds. And people are not applying to these fields. And look at the Emergency medicine. See, I told you guys, emergency medicine, the odd is 79% that you will match, 68%, even if you're non-US citizen, that you will match. And the applicants are so few. Oh my gosh, look at this. Only 0.05. Actually, emergency medicine doesn't even have a percentage there, 0.02%. 0.02 applicant for each position in emergency medicine. And they're matching. All of them are just matching. Unbelievable. 80% are matching in US citizen. Wow. And then in similarly in pediatrics, much smaller portion, 0.10. You're coming to internal medicine, neurology, and pathology, and yes, you have good odds, all above around 50, above 50% or more, except for this 45. But much better odds here, and even in child neurology, much better odds. You don't even then neurology, you have a better odds. 67% are matching, but maybe only select people are going there, and that's why the match results are better. All right, so here's the summary statistics, which is all specialists combined, and here's the meat. And US IMGs match versus unmatched, non-US IMGs match versus unmatched. So those who match has a mean number of ranked programs, not applied, not interviewed, but ranked programs, 8 for matched and 2.5 for unmatched. So clear difference. So the more program you match, the more likely you are to match, more program you rank. 6.7 for non-US IMGs, and they're still matching. So much lower number of ranks, and they're still matching. It's amazing. While US have high number of ranks to match, and 2.6 on average. These are average for the whole group and with a broad range, of course. And we'll see some of that breakdown for neurology later on. This is overall. This is not neurology, overall. So that's impressive. But you see what stands out? USMD seniors, number of programs ranked, average 14.5. 14.5. Oh my gosh, almost double number of programs ranked on people who are matching. And even double in those who unmatched. 5, I think, was the average, if I remember right. But very small data, so not very reliable. So it's impressive that although the number of ranked programs are much lower for the IMGs, they're matching. But clearly, a lot of people are unmatched, and there's going to be some overlap there. There will be some people who match with low programs and some people who stayed unmatched with high programs, that they're ranked, not interviewed, not applied. Distinct specialties. Here there is some difference. So 1.4 for people who match. So almost every third person, or almost every second actually, ranked a second specialty. And people who unmatched about the same, not much of a difference there. Step 1 score, 222 for US citizen, 235 for non-US citizen. Maybe that's where the overall summary, they thought that the US IMG, US citizen are doing slightly better. They have slightly better chance of matching, but with a slightly lower profile, so lower scores. So 226 on average who unmatched in non-IMG is actually better than the average of US IMGs. Of course, the spread, remember, we'll see that. But if you just take the average for whatever it means, the average of an unmatched non-US IMG is higher than the matched US citizen IMG. So maybe that's where some of that summary comment was coming from. Step 2 score is always higher, but 233 and 243 for non-US and 225 for unmatched, 234. Research experiences, wow, the number is much lower. We saw it was 4 and above. Actually, 7.8, if I remember it right, was the number for MD seniors, and only 2.3 and 2.8 for again, no difference. Even those who are unmatching have a higher number of mean research experiences. So that's not guaranteeing that they match, but the US, which was about 4, I think, for research experience and 7.8 for abstract presentation. Again, lower, higher for than US IMG, but again, non-match is still higher than US IMG. So abstracts and presentations do not guarantee work experiences. Volunteer will skip that. I don't know how to interpret that for a foreign word. What would be considered work or volunteer experience could be a previous residency in their home country, for all I know. Degrees and common 2.8 degrees PhD. So they have done some very high level doctoral work who are coming in and are matching. And the ones who are unmatched have a lot of degrees. 24 another degree percentage, and that does not guarantee that they will get it. At least fair chance of it. All right, let's US rank specialties. This is our data now. So neurology, if you're matched, on average, you have ranked 7 programs. On average, median number. So this is not average, is one. So really, if you haven't matched, it becomes really hard. And it's kind of same, but people in internal medicine, in pediatrics, a lot of program, child neurology is ranked a lot of program. Maybe that's why the matching rate was so high, 79% or something. Pediatrics, they're ranking more program. Again, maybe that's why pediatrics had a higher chance of match. Neurology, 7 was the average number ranked by people, median number. And these are US IMGs. Non-US IMGs, similar, slightly less, only grams for those, the number for those who match versus one who didn't match, median number. And now the median numbers are much lower, surprising. Neurology only 4, and the matching was so high, 68%, even with 4 programs. Jeez, that's wonderful. Pathology 8, but pediatrics 5. So some of these specialty for non-US IMGs, even with low number of programs ranked, they are even better than neurology. But neurology is what we're focusing. 6 to 1, 7 to 1, matched versus unmatched. All right, that's all. Mean number of different specialties ranked. So see, that's something that always comes as a discussion. Can I apply to more than neurology? And here is the answer. For people who match on average, 1.4 specialties were applied. So almost a little less than, a little more than 2 in 1, so 2.1 or 2.2 students to one, two ones every, slightly more than every other student, slightly less than every other student has applied to another specialty. While it's higher for those who are unmatched in neurology, where the neurology was their first choice on the match, so they may somewhere else. But here, not match means that neurology is their first choice and they didn't match to neurology and they may have matched to something else. And they're applying on the whole to more programs. So almost 1.8, which everyone, almost everyone was applying in program besides neurology. At 2, I think it's everyone. Think this IMG for non-US citizen, their issue is about the same. Actually, for US and there for surprisingly. All right. Step 1 score will be going away, but for now, one more year. The information here there is slight overlap. So there's a score of around 220, where some matched and some didn't match. But above 220, everybody matched, and below 220, except for a few, maybe 218 or something, everybody didn't match. So if you have a 20 or higher score, the chance of match was high in last year. But this is US IMGs, but non-US IMGs competition is much more tough. There's a lot more overlap. So even people who matched had a score about on average of people who didn't match. It's much higher score, 230. Competitive. 230 match and 240 or so for match, but there's significant overlap. There was a significant group of people who had scores similar and some match and some didn't match, and that's this type of dark blue. And then we'll look at breakdown later on. Step 2, US versus non-US citizens. Now there's significant overlap in step 2, 220, 235, and in non-US citizens, significant overlap, about a little over 230, 230 something, and a much higher score all the way up there. Very interesting. Okay. Mean number of research experiences, talked about that. Neurology, 5 for those who matched, and 4.8 experiences for those who didn't match. But maybe for lower score or something, and that did not help much. Once the score low, you can make a huge difference as a US citizen. Probably have access to research more, and that's more experiences. Non-US citizens, the average is 2. So matched people are about the same as matched, but the non-matched people are much lower than the non-matched US. Probably access to research opportunity. Abstract presentation, the foreign graduates are behind in general overall, although all is not too bad. So 5.6 abstract US citizens and 10.6 for non-US citizens. So they're really for the non-matched ones and 8.2 for non-matched. So that's good. A lot of effort. Again, it does not talk about the quality or abstract or the value. Um, they volunteer experience. I will skip that. Graduate, PhD again. That means my other degrees, neurology. 9% had another degree who matched, 40% who didn't match had another degree. That much. And neurology, 16%, 20%. So it doesn't seem neurology statistics match who allowed their data, I believe a little over 80%. And, and then other data. Remember, we also have data on applicant survey and survey to look at and separately in a different video. Stop here.